Hi, it's Jeff back for Jeff's Gardening. I wanted to show you my third garden that I have going right now. And if you look in here, this is nothing but strawberries in here. And it hasn't been warm recently. When I say it's warm, but not, they grow in pretty warm weather. And then when it's real hot, they kind of die off. They'll be producing, you can see them here soon. But we've gotten a ton of strawberries this year. I just put these in like 2 weeks ago. These are pumpkin plants to do pumpkins, and I'll be letting them grow in here for a little bit, and then I'll be transplanting them into some bigger containers. But I am out of containers because I have over 85 different vegetables or plants growing right now, so I'm running out of everything. You can see this growing here. This is another bell pepper plant. If you look back in there, you'll see them starting to grow. This is a yellow squash. I just trimmed and thinned this out. It'll produce again. It's just it produced heavy, but it just was getting too accumulated with leaves and damage to it. That right there, if you look down there, you can see that squash right there. That's a gray zucchini. It's the first year I've had success with the gray zucchinis, but a lot of success. We've had a ton of gray zucchini so far. This here is another cherry tomato bush growing in here. And like I said, everything's in containers or buckets or above ground. And you can see the little tomatoes growing everywhere on that. This here is a green bell pepper plant. I'm not sure if I got any more in here, but because I already picked 2 big ones off here just this week. You can see the beetles. You can see that leaf right. See if I can get a picture of this leaf. You can see the hole in it. So the beetles are starting to come out there, pain you know what. So don't have any on there now, but I did pick 2 big ones on here. You can see these jalapenos growing in here. They're really starting to come out now that it's getting warmer season and everything. This plant here I'm going to have to trim back. I just took my last 2 yellow squash that I had on here off of here. But if you look, you see all those yellow flowers in there. I have to trim all this stitch up here, get rid of a lot of this leaf that's breaking and everything, and then I'll be getting squash back on there again soon. In fact, you can see a little one growing in there. It'll take a while, but they take about 2 weeks once they start coming out. Oh, there's one right there. If you look in there, you'll see that yellow squash in there. So they're doing pretty good too. So right now, everything's producing over here. Is blueberry bushes. Now this one doesn't look too much now. You can see them on there. I pretty much 2 weeks ago, these are good. Blueberry bushes in our area are good. You keep them in the same bucket, same kind of material. You just have to add either lime or a little acid loving to these. This one here produced probably 2 tubs of blueberries already. But it's getting to that type of the season where they get dormant. They'll go away and then they'll come back in the fall a little bit. This right here is a raspberry bush. It actually started out as a little stick 2 years ago. And if I get in here, this one, you can see this one's starting to produce here now. This will yield a huge amount of raspberries. The other raspberry bush, which you'll see in a minute, was already produced a ton. So we've gotten through this. This is another blueberry bush, but if you look, there's nothing on here. But it was producing like crazy. But like I said, it's getting to that warmer part of the summer where blueberries will not produce. They're good at a mid-climate type of thing. This is another raspberry bush. You can see they're still producing a little bit, but I picked this one pretty well dry the other day, and it's taken over the area. It should produce again. Raspberries, hot weather doesn't get to them too much. There's another blueberry bush, and if you look, really nothing left on it, but it was a big producer probably just as of 2 weeks ago, but you see the colors change, and it's just, even though I water it and give it the acid, it's just that time of year, but it will come back when it gets a little cooler. And this is another blueberry bush I have that's a newer one, and you can just see the blueberries all over that bush. If you look, like here's one here that's ready to be eaten, the other ones aren't ready, and I'm not much into them, but let me tell you, that is good. But you can see them, they're all over. But that'll get you a a little plastic tub of blueberries as you go along, if you want them. So what I ended up doing this year was to try a different gardening, was up above type of gardening. So what I did in here earlier this year is, this is starting to die off now, but if you look in there, there was lettuces, there was broccoli, there was 2 types of lettuces, I'm sorry, and there's some mint down there, and then this is coming up. I didn't even plant a pepper here, but I got a pepper bush coming up out of there. The next row was all strawberries, which you can see them in here. I know I just saw another one in here, so there's a little one in there. Let's see if we can see it there, back in there. Sometimes you got to pull them up in the back, but you don't really see a lot of production out of this now because it'll start leaving a lot. It'll got a lot of leaves, but just as of last week, I probably had 20 or 30 strawberries here, but they're getting to that hot season, and you just got to keep watering them. Then they will come back in the fall. Up here, you can just see that's a bunch of mint up there, and trying to think. This one back here is gone, but this was. Yeah, this was a lettuce. You see this one's died off. That was a lettuce. It was lettuce, and I got a strawberry coming up in here and in here. So they will, when they're that small, they still will produce as long as I keep them watered. But once it gets so hot, they'll be done. That pretty much deals with what I got going on there. And the last thing I got over here is this one I got in a tree. I move them all around and see what they do. And you can see the flowers. You can see that strawberry starting right there, but the leaves are big. But same thing, I probably had 4 or 5 nice sized strawberries out of here. And now it's just that time of year where it's going to leaf and do things to keep it watered, and then it will produce again when it gets towards the end of summer and into the fall. All right, have a good day, and I'll send another video when I can. Thanks.